Yesterday we had discussed the last, I think, point which was remaining for the first unit, the two important theories. First theory which we had discussed was agency theory, and then we discussed the other theory, which is stewardship theory. So the agency theory was considered as a traditional theory, whereas stewardship theory was considered as a modern theory. So that we had discussed. We had also discussed about what we will be discussing in the second unit or second chapter of this particular course. So issues and challenges faced by implementing faced during implementing good corporate governance system in an organization. What are the various issues or what are the various challenges? Overview, we had discussed that these could be the challenges which are faced by most of the company when it comes to implementing good corporate governance policies. Now, to overcome those challenges, government has set up various committees. That committees we have discussed, as well as various amendments have been. Amendments are changes. Changes have been made in the existing law which controls the uh, corporate governance of an organization. And the most important law when we talk about related to corporate governance is Companies Act. Now, Companies Act, we had already discussed Companies Act in first semester, if you could recall, in legal aspects of business. So, Companies Act, first it was passed in the year 1956, and later on, sorry, and later on, it was amended. There were amendments made in the Companies Act 1956. In 2013, a new Company Act, a total, we can say, revamped Companies Act was passed by the government. And in 2014, it was implemented for all the organizations or all the companies who are working in India. So there are many changes which are related to corporate governance, which were made in the Companies Act of 2013. So now we will be discussing about board of directors and the composition of board of directors, as well as the mandatory committees. There are certain committees which are mandatory or which are, we can say, they are statutory as per law, as per Companies Act 2013, that every company has to have these 3 4 committees which are mandatory as per Companies Act 2013, that we will be discussing today. Now, when we talk about board of directors, everyone is aware of that what is board of directors, because every now and then when we say watch news also, we come to know that this particular company and this company has taken, their board has taken this particular decision. When a company is launching a new product, again we come to know that the board of directors of this company have decided to launch a new product. So, and in movies also we see often that how a board of director is working when it comes to a movie which is related to business. So board of directors, everyone, if not a very thorough idea, we can say everyone is having a rough idea, that in brief idea what a board of director is. So we can say that board of director, we can say the uh, highest stage of a organization, highest level of a organization, which is responsible for the overall functioning of the organization. So that is called as board of directors. All the policies, all the strategies are to be prepared, are to be formulated, are to be discussed at the highest level, at this highest level of board of directors for an organization. So we can say that board of directors is also called as the brain of a company or brain of a organization. They are responsible. Now these members, we can say that this board is responsible for taking all the decisions and making policy changes or policy related to policy changes or related to policy implementation. Now these decisions are taken in special meetings of members of the board, which is held together, which is called as board meeting. So different directors are appointed in the board, and when the board meeting takes place, different issues are discussed at that highest level. And if the company wants to formulate certain policy, that policy is discussed and finalized at this level, and that level is called as board of directors. Now if we talk about the composition of board of directors, the Companies Act has mentioned, to be precise, section 149 of the Companies Act 2030. It states that every company's board of director must necessarily have a minimum of 3 directors if it is a public company, minimum 2 directors if it is a private company, and minimum 1 director if it is one person company. Now, what is public company, what is private company, and what is one person company, that we have already discussed under legal aspects of business. So we will not get into detail of that. So minimum, they have mentioned that what is the minimum. So in case of public, there has to be 3 minimum directors of, for the composition of board. If we talk about private company, there has to be 2 directors for the constitution of board of that particular company. And if it is one person company, there has to be one person who will be composing the board of that particular company. When we talk about maximum number of members a company can appoint as director, the law says that it should be 15, not more than 15. But there is a provision in Companies Act of 2013 that in case the board member want to increase the number from 15, 15 is the final number, maximum number of directors which can be appointed at the board of directors for a particular company. But if the company or the board feels that they want to add some more directors to its board, then there is a provision. In that case, they have to write an application to the registrar under Companies Act, and they have to give a justification why they require or why they would like to add few more names to the board of directors. If the registrar is satisfied with the justification mentioned in the application by the board, then the number can be increased to the maximum limit of 20. So 15 is the maximum number of directors, which is laid down under Companies Act 2030, which can, in exceptional cases, be increased to the figure of 20. So that is maximum. And a individual director can be a director of maximum 20 companies. Now, when we talk about independent directors, we have discussed the term independent directors also. So they are the people who are expert in their field, and they are included in the board of directors of a particular company only because of their knowledge, their experience, and their ability in that particular field. They are not involved in the financial, they do not have any sort of financial stake involved in the organization. So these are independent directors. Now, it may happen that one independent director is on the board of, say, two companies or three companies or four companies or 10 companies. So they have, the government under the law, under the company law, have fixed a cap that one independent director can be on the board of not more than 20 companies. So 20 companies. Suppose if a IT expert is there, and he is such a renowned expert that every IT company wants him to be on their board to give them suggestions related to IT field. Now that particular expert can accept the suggestion as invitation of such kind of from not more than 20 companies. So he can be an independent director with maximum of 20 companies related to that particular field. So that is one of the important point in composition of board of directors. Next important thing is that at least one director in the board of director should be a woman, and that is compulsory. It is compulsory and it is mentioned in the law. Then all the listed companies must have at least one third proportion of their board of directors as independent directors. Now, earlier it was one third proportion, but after the implementation of suggestions of J.J. Irani committee, the number of independent directors from one third to it is two third. Two third, it comes to around 67%. So every company which is listed, that particular company, when it comes to the appointment of board of directors, should ensure that around 67% of the directors who are appointed at the board of directors of that particular company should be independent directors. So that was related to the composition of the board of directors of a company. Now, the law also makes it compulsory for every listed company and for private company also. In law, in Companies Act, there is a provision that if a company is having a paid up capital of, say, 10 crore rupees, then this company should come under the provisions of Companies Act 2013. So certain committees, 3 4 committees we will be taking up, which is mandatory for every organization, for every company. So first and the most important committee we will be taking up is audit committee. Now this committee is considered as one of the pillar of corporate governance mechanism of any company. This committee aims to enhance the confidence in the integrity of the company's financial reporting, the internal process control, and the processes and procedures of risk management systems implemented in the company. Now, this company, we will directly go to the functions, because or we can discuss the applicability also, that which are the companies for which it is compulsory to constitute audit committee. Now, for the applicability part, all the public companies with a paid up capital of 10 crore rupees or more, it is compulsory for these companies to constitute a audit committee, that we have already discussed. When we talk about the functions of the audit committee, now this audit committee should be headed by a chairman, and the chairman of the audit committee should be a independent director. So that is the first requirement for the audit committee, that minimum there has to be 3 directors who will be forming this committee called as audit committee. And among these 3 directors, 2/3 should be independent directors. That means majority should be independent director who are not directly involved with the financial dealings of the company. And the most important thing is the chairman of the audit committee has to be a independent director. He has to be an independent director. Now, who will be the person who can be included in this audit committee? It is mentioned very clearly that all the members of audit committee shall be financially literate and they should have knowledge of accounting or related financial management expertise. So it should not happen that a person who is included in the audit committee doesn't have the ability to read financial statements prepared by that particular company. So to curb this practice or malpractice or irregularity, the provision is very clear that minimum 3 directors, all the directors should be financially literate, means they should have a, a good knowledge how to read financial statements, and they should have good knowledge of accounting processes also. So they could point out if any loopholes are there in the preparation of statement of accounts. Then the chairman of the audit committee shall be present at the annual general meeting to answer the shareholder queries. Now, in case shareholders raise any query related to the financial statements published by a particular company, then the chairman should be able to answer those queries, because he is the main person who has gone through with the financial statement and who has signed the financial statements of that particular company. So it is expected that in every general board meeting with shareholders, the chairman of the audit committee has to be present to answer the queries of the shareholders. The company secretary of the organization acts as secretary for the audit committee. So that is the constitution of audit committee, who all will be part of the audit committee and how it will function. Now, meetings of audit committee, this is also laid down in law that how many meetings has to be there. Now, when it comes to a meeting of audit committee, it is expected that audit committee should meet at least 4 times a year. That means every quarter they have to meet. And the quorum of such meetings shall be 2 members or 1/3 of the members of audit committee, whichever is greater. But there should be minimum of 2 independent directors present. So quorum, I hope that everybody understands the word quorum. Quorum means when the when can we organize a meeting of a board, how many members are to be present. So it is mentioned very clearly, if the audit committee is having 3 members in that particular committee, then quorum means that at least 2 members or 2 directors should be present. Then only there can be a meeting held. There can be a meeting. Otherwise, there will be no meeting. Suppose if only one director is present, and because of some urgent, say, urgent emergencies or some urgent work, rest 2 directors are could not make it for the day and time of the meeting, then it is said that meeting was not held. Meeting will be held only if among 3 at least 2 are present, and in those 2 also it is mentioned that if one is a executive director and the other one is independent director and one independent director is absent in the meeting, then also the meeting is cannot be called by the committee. Meeting is cancelled and meeting is postponed. So at least two directors should be there, and it is also mentioned that minimum two independent directors should be present for that particular committee meeting. Then only we can say that meeting will take place. Otherwise, it is assumed that meeting has not taken place. Now, the most important part, that what are the functions of audit committee? There are various functions which we will be discussing related to audit committee. Now, the first function is related to the recommendation for appointment, remuneration, and terms of appointment of auditors of the committee. Now, this particular committee will be recommending who will be the auditors who will be appointed by the company, what will be their remuneration, what will be their terms of employment, and how they will be employed in the organization, or how they will be hired by the organization. So everything, the function lies with the audit committee itself. They have to give their report to the company. Next function is review and monitor the auditor's independence and performance and effectiveness of audit process. Now, this is again very important, that reviewing and monitoring. So as we had discussed, that it is as per law that every 3 months or 4 times in a year they have to meet. So when the committee is meeting at that particular time, it is expected that they will be reviewing and monitoring the auditors' independence who are hired by the organization on their recommendation, on the recommendation of the audit committee. So they will be reviewing how the auditors are working, whether they are working in a correct manner or not, whether they are working independently or not, how they are performing for the organization, whether the process of audit which they are implementing for the organization is effective or not. So that is to be checked. This is another important function of audit committee. Next important function is examination of financial statements and the auditor's report. So before placing the financial statements to the board of directors, it is the responsibility, or it is a function of the audit committee to examine the financial statements carefully and see to it that there are no irregularities in preparation of financial statements. Then only they can forward this for the approval of board of directors, and once it is approved by board of directors, then it can be published for the public domain. Next function is scrutiny of the company loans and investments. So scrutiny means they can check, or they can verify, or they can go into detail about the loans taken by the company and the different investments which are invested by the company in, say, various sectors, we can say. So that scrutiny is again an important thing. They can scrutinize, they can check, they can go through the loans, how much loan has been taken, how the loan is used, and how the organization is planning to pay back the loan. Next function is valuation of undertakings or assets of the company. So again, audit committee's function is to do the valuation of the company and its assets. Next is evaluation of internal financial controls. Now, evaluation of internal financial control means it has a function that it can go through the internal, what we can say is internal, how in an organization internally financial system or financial department is working, whether the financial department is working as per the rules and regulations, or if there are certain irregularities which are to be overcome. So that evaluation part again is another function of audit committee. So these are certain important functions of the audit committee, which is considered as one of the most important committee. Next, we will talk about the role of audit committee. Now, in Companies Act 2013, under clause 49, the role of audit committee is mentioned in detail. Now, few points we will be discussing, few important points we will be discussing. And first is that reviewing with the management the annual financial statements and auditor's report before the submission of board. We have already discussed this. Then the important thing is important role when we are discussing the role. The most important thing is reviewing the adequacy of internal audit system, including the structure and internal audit department, staffing and seniority of the official heading the department, reporting structure, coverage and frequency of internal audit. Now, when we talk about the role, this is considered as the most important role, that they have to review whether the internal audit system is adequate or not. Then they have to also review whether the structure of the accounts department of that particular organization is proper or not, whether enough staff is there who can take care of the accounting processes of a particular organization are appointed in that particular department or not. What is the seniority level of these persons? It should not happen that all the people or majority of the people who are working in the accounts department are recently appointed by the organization as compared to the people who are working in other departments of the organization. It should not happen. Then they will also check the seniority of the person who is heading the department, that what is the HOD of, say, finance department, what is his seniority when it is compared with the other HODs of other departments. So that is again to be discussed and reviewed, and important role of the audit committee. Then what is the reporting structure of audit, the financial department? The financial department is supposed, the head of the department of finance is supposed to report about the financial things to whom. That reporting structure is to be reviewed. That is again an important role. And how many times internal audit is conducted by the company and by the department itself. The frequency of internal audit, again an important role to be performed by the audit committee. Then discussions with internal auditors of any significant findings and follow up thereon. Now, if the audit committee comes to know about, say, one or two entries are not properly done, they have come across that there are some problems when it comes to entry of say 2 3 items by the accounts department. So they can discuss with the internal auditors or the accounts department of the organization about these problems, and they can follow up thereon, that they can see to it how these problems can be overcome or problems can be resolved. Next important thing is reviewing the findings of internal investigations by the internal auditors into matters where there is suspected fraud or irregularity or failure of internal control system. So they can check whether everything is going in a smooth manner or correct manner as per the processes, accounting procedures. Or if they come to know that there is a suspect of some fraud in some of the transaction, they can do or conduct a detailed investigation into that particular fraud or into that particular irregularity, and they can revamp the internal control system also. So these are the important areas where the audit committee plays a very important role. Next is okay, one more role is remaining. Sorry, two roles are remaining that we will be discussing: to review the functioning of whistleblower mechanism. Uh, I'm not sure if how many of you know about this particular mechanism. Whistleblower mechanism. Whistleblower mechanism means it's a mechanism where everyone is having say freedom, that in case they come to know that some irregularity is happening in their particular department, they have a free access to report that particular irregularity either to their head of the department, or they have a free access. Suppose the head of the department himself or herself is involved in that particular irregularity, then they can directly approach the top management of the organization and can bring about that irregularity to their notice. So that is the functioning of whistleblower mechanism. So they can check whether such type of mechanism is there or not. And the last one is approval of appointment of CFO. CFO is Chief Financial Officer, that is whole-time finance director or any other person heading the finance function or discharging that function after assessing the qualification, experience, and background, etc., of that particular candidate. So they can recommend, the audit committee is having a power, they are having a role that they can recommend a appointment of a CFO who will be working in the organization as a whole-time finance director, as regards to his qualification, experience, background. Everything is to be checked and updated to the board by the audit committee. So these are some of the functions, roles, and composition of audit committee that we had discussed. So before moving on to the next committees, if you have any query related to the composition of board or related to the audit committee, you can ask me questions. Yes, last 4 minutes are remaining. So instead of taking up the other committees, we can discuss if you have any query, any small doubt related to the audit committee and related to the composition of board of directors. You can ask me a question. Yes, no question. just let me remind you that when we will be finalizing your internal evaluation also, then we will definitely be taking care of, or one of the criteria for internal evaluation will be, of course, attendance, how many lectures you have attended, and the other criteria, other sub criteria can be uh, how much actively you were there for the online lectures. So actively means there has to be some sort of discussion, some sort of queries can be raised. Otherwise, what will happen? It will be more or less a monotonous kind of session. Only one person is communicating, the others are passive listeners. That should not happen. So please take care that you are also active part of this particular session, because we will be taking care when we will be finalizing your internal evaluation. And most probably uh, we have not got the written communication from the university, but it's an unwritten rule that this semester only online sessions will be there. So there will be no session as far uh, the uh, present condition. It is not possible as per the university to, for the colleges to conduct lectures at their particular campuses. So internal evaluation will be based on your submission of concurrent evaluation, your participation in online lectures, and how actively you are participating in online lectures. So everything matters, and that will be, say, increasing your score also. You might have seen that in the present semester, uh, every one of you must have got good credits or good grades, right? So we are expecting, if we